episode 22 of the Halftime Sports Talk Show. I'm your host, Reese Kinder, and it's that time again. College football is heating up once again. NFL is rolling through, and we've got a lot to dig into this week. Grab your jersey and settle in because we're doing a full recap of week 4 of college football, looking at who's slipping, who's surging, and why the rankings make no sense once again. This week, we'll preview the biggest matchups in week 5, followed by a recap of NFL week 3 and what NFL week 4 has in store. But let's get into it. Hello everyone and welcome to the show. Once again, we're going to get right into it now with our week 4 college football recap. All right, Saturday was big. The outcomes were big. Some surprises, some expected blowouts, some head scratchers, and definitely some officiating problems. And that's what we're going to get started with on the show today is the officiating problems. Going to the first game we have up is Auburn and Oklahoma. And obviously, Auburn-Oklahoma, final score 24-17. Oklahoma won that game in Norman. Auburn quarterback Jackson Arnold got sacked 10 times in the loss against the Sooners. OU's defense set the tone in this game, but first want to quickly get into the stat line. Jackson Arnold, 21 for 32, 220 yards, and 1 touchdown pass. And then John Mateer, 24 for 36, 271 yards, and a touchdown pass as well. And also a running touchdown towards the end of the game. But going to get right into our game here, the first one. And just basically how bad it was to watch it as an Auburn fan and just as a fan in general of college football. First off, congratulations to Oklahoma for winning. But yeah, this game was a really physical game. A lot of penalties really hurt Auburn in this game, and also just a lot of miscommunication and some miscues in this game for Auburn. But yeah, just gonna start off with the officiating. It's horrible. You can't sit here and say, as an Oklahoma fan, oh yeah, we deserved to win that game, completely. We were there. We were in it the whole entire game. No. If you're an Oklahoma fan, you did not deserve to win that game. Obviously coming from an Auburn fan, that's just bias, but also in the same aspect, you got to look here and be like, the trick play, for example, did not count. Or shouldn't have counted. The fumble was a fumble returned for a touchdown. There were so many pass interference calls that should have been called but weren't. I could just go on and on and on. And I don't know when it's going to ever occur to anybody that officiating has been so bad that, you have announcers that are saying, this is horrible. Literally, Greg McElroy went to the University of Alabama, and he was saying how bad the officiating was. That's, to a standpoint of where, you're basically just, oh, well, we're not going to throw the flag because we don't think that's a PI. When you wrestle someone to the ground, I don't care if the ball's not catchable or not. If the ball's not catchable, that's my bad. If the ball's not catchable, it should not be a pass interference. But the ball that Cam Coleman almost caught and probably would have caught if it wasn't a pass interference was a PI. It's so not reasonable to say that's not a pass interference. This game, I think Auburn would have won if the penalties were not enforced and if that trick play was ruled an illegal play. And if you look at it too, a lot of people are like, well, Auburn's just not a team that's well-rounded. They're not put together, but they are. They are a good team. Okay, Jackson Arnold gets sacked 10 times. If you look at least 7 out of the 10 sacks, it's because Arnold runs backwards and then he runs a little bit forwards and just takes 2 yards losses, or like 2 yard losses. That's sack, but it's also a tackle for loss. So really, Oklahoma's defense got like 3 sacks. That's not that impressive. And for Auburn fans out there, I mean, I'm one of them. I immediately went to the socials after the game and was like, we suck. I mean, we look like crap. Auburn looked like crap, but after sleeping on it for the night, I was like, I woke up the next morning on Sunday. I was like, the loss isn't really as bad as I thought it was. I mean, the special teams look like crap. Obviously, that's obvious. The defense looked great. I mean, that's the best I've seen the defense all season. They look great. The offense looked okay. Penalties definitely would have helped the offense move the ball more. And I feel like just sleeping on it, Auburn deserves to win this game. They deserve to win the game outright. I mean, like, Oklahoma, you can say whatever you want. John Mateer, like, I don't know why we're calling him a Heisman contender. This dude did nothing. The run he ran in the fourth quarter was a holding. Deion Burks grabbed Kalen Lee's jersey, and it was a holding. John Mateer, that whole entire game, didn't look good until maybe the third quarter for like a drive. That was it. Now, I will say Hugh Freeze's play calling in that last drive was not good. It was not good at all, but it was okay. I mean, you really had to look at it and just be like, well, I mean, obviously the offensive line had some holding penalties and false start penalties that really backed them up there at the end to make Oklahoma at 24. If that doesn't happen, I think Auburn probably wins this game and goes down and scores. But regardless, I mean, that's not the case. I think Auburn wins this game anyway. I mean, Auburn should be 4-0 and in the rankings still. We'll get to that later. I mean, that's a different story. But I really was disappointed in the officiating from the SEC on Saturday in that game, and it really just makes you want to punch a hole in the wall. I mean, it was terrible. But gonna like go to well, honestly, we've been talking about it. If Auburn wins, if the officials don't make horrible calls, I mean, that's just plain and simple. I mean, you saw the PIs, the fumble miss. The dude took 2 steps. Deion Burks took 2 steps before the ball came out, and that's a catch. Like, you can't say that's not a catch. Like, I don't know what it's gonna take for officials to call a game fair. It's almost like at that point you have like money on the game. That's what it really seemed like during the entire game. It felt like the officials had money on the game. But I'm not going to be the one to say that Auburn lost because of officiating. Some things did go wrong for Auburn, but in a case they did lose because of officiating. I'm not that type of person that likes to say officiating costs people games, but I'm coming out here and saying that I do think Auburn wins this game if those calls are reversed. But you can't say if this happened, if that happened. You have to go out and show it. Auburn did really play extremely well. Any Auburn fan listening to this, you guys played great, but just couldn't get it done in Norman. And hopefully Auburn can bounce back next week against A&M. We'll highlight that a little bit later. But yeah, Oklahoma wins 24-17 at home against the Auburn Tigers and improves to 4-0 on the season. So yeah, just a huge storyline to open up the show, obviously. But we're going to move on now to the next game. This game was earlier in the day on Saturday. This game was actually it was a shock to me that this game even was this close, or this game was a blowout. The Texas Tech versus Utah, 34-10 in this game. Statement win for the Red Raiders. Utah just looked out of sync, like the whole game. Big noon kickoff was there. I mean, it was electric. The atmosphere was one of the loudest atmospheres we saw of the morning slate, and it looked like it was going to be a good game. Looked like number 17 versus number 16 could be a great game. Devin Dampier, Will Hammond playing against each other. That was going to be a great game, bound to happen. But yeah, Will Hammond threw 13 for 16 through 2 touchdown passes, and Devin Dampier 25 for 38, 2 interceptions thrown in this game, and did not look good for the Utes in this one. And gonna move to or we're gonna elaborate on this game, just kind of talk about it a little bit. Yeah, Texas Tech, just well-rounded team, very put together. Didn't really fumble under the pressure. Looked like the team that I saw in 2015, like when Patrick Mahomes was there, and some of those great Texas Tech teams with like Case Keenum and those other greats that have been to that school. But yeah, looked great out there. Just was able to move the ball downfield efficiently. The defense came up big when it needed to. And I really thought Utah's defense, I mean, that's all I heard coming into the game is Utah's defense is great and all this. They like really stop, they can really stop the run and they can defend the pass. But Will Hammond came in the game as a backup. He is Texas Tech's original quarterback. I forgot his name, but he got injured in that game against Utah. But yeah, Will Hammond stepping up big. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm hoping the headlines are right there, but I believe that's what happened. Yeah, great game from Texas Tech and Utah. I mean, just like Texas Tech, like I said, overall just played outstanding in Utah. And honestly, the next thing I want to go to is, will Texas Tech make the college football playoff? I know this is early in the season. This is just week 4. We're not even in week 5 yet, but once we get there, we'll get there. But I really feel like this Red Raiders team is like they're very put together. I feel like they're able to get things done when they need to. And the offseason hype was real about them. They're a great team, a great coach team. And I really feel like the Red Raiders have something going there. Who knows? Maybe they'll fall off, but I really think the Red Raiders could be a CFP team. And even a Big 12 contender, because I had Baylor as a Big 12 contender, but you saw where that happened. Arizona State ended up beating them by a walk-off field goal in Waco. So another tough loss for the Bears this season, first to Auburn and then next to Arizona State, who is still a pretty good team. But yeah, the Red Raiders just able to play efficiently against Utah and get a big 34-10 win. But yeah, if Texas Tech makes college football playoffs, you guys will look back at this episode and be like, well, I predicted it, and yes, I did. So definitely a huge one for the Red Raiders, and they improved to 4-0 in the season. But going to move to our next game on the recap from Saturday, Michigan versus Nebraska. And if you're a Cornhuskers fan, just cover your ears for a second. I mean, this is just crazy what happened. But yeah, the stat line: Bryce Underwood 12 for 22, 105 passing yards, no TDs thrown. And then Dylan Raiola 30 for 41 with 308 passing yards, 3 TDs and an interception. But yeah, Nebraska nearly pulled it off, but Michigan held on in this one, and Nebraska now falls to 0-28. 0-28 against ranked teams. I mean, like, what are we doing? I know Matt Rule's good and all, but you got to get to a point to where you're like, you go out there and at least win one. I mean, you're like, at this point, you just know you're going to lose those ranked games. You look on the schedule like, oh, they're ranked, we lost. I mean, like, it's really disappointing to see Nebraska. I picked them, and we'll get to that later. I mean, I picked them to win this game in Nebraska. I was like, Michigan, didn't look good against Oklahoma. I think Underwood's going to get flustered in this one, but no. I mean, Michigan's run game looked outstanding, and it just continued to look good throughout the game. But yeah, Michigan looked very poised in this win. Looked sound, and they didn't fumble under pressure either. They looked like they wanted to get a big win. And yeah, Michigan, just a huge win for them. especially since all the talk about, are they going to go like 6-6 or 7-5 after losing to Oklahoma? But yeah, just a great win for the Wolverines at Nebraska. And I mean, Nebraska, like I said, I don't know if they're ever going uh, to win a ranked game. But yeah, just how does this loss hurt Nebraska down the stretch? I really don't know. Maybe Nebraska can get something done next week. I don't know who they play exactly, but if the Cornhuskers can get back on track after this loss and not let this affect them, Dylan Raiola had a great stat line. I mean, 30 for 41 with 300 passing yards is a great stat line. That's not bad. That just means your defense lost the game for you. But if Nebraska can continue to get things done, um, the rest of the season, and this Michigan loss might be one of their only losses, then that's okay. I mean, like you look back at it and you're like, okay, we made some mistakes in the game. We fixed them after that. But we were able to capitalize off those mistakes and figure it out in the next few weeks and continue to win. If you're able to do that, then I still think Nebraska is a college football playoff team down the road. But for now, I'm going to keep Nebraska just out of the college football playoff and maybe a 9-3 team. But they got to prove something to me next week and the following weeks if they want to get back in that college football playoff hunt. But now going to move on to our next game, which this game, I mean, I'm shocked, honestly. But Indiana absolutely dominated Illinois. They were exposed in all phases. Illinois was 63-10 was the final score. Kirk Cignetti did not let up. I mean, what like I I don't know what to say. I mean, like I really don't know what to say because I thought Illinois, I was all that talk last week after all that talk a few weeks ago after they beat Duke. I was like, this Illinois team is just so good. I mean, they look really good. They look like they could be a college football playoff team. But Kirk Cignetti like, no, you guys are not a college football playoff team. We're gonna come or we're gonna be at home and beat y'all up. And I even said that last week. I was like, can Altmaier like stop the turnovers? I mean, he did, but he only threw 22 pass attempts and a touchdown. Fernando Mendoza, on the other hand, literally 21 for 23, 5 touchdowns. Like, what are we doing? Like Indiana or Illinois' defense just did not show up at all. Did not even get off the bus. I really don't know what happened in this game, but Indiana is a lot better than a lot of people give them credit to be. The schedule thing, the start of the season, why are they playing all these cupcakes? Teams do that. I mean, that's normal. You play 3 cupcakes. You want to get your team experience. I did say though after the Old Dominion close win, I was like, they're gonna be like 6-6, 7-5 for the season. They're not gonna be that good. And then they started blowing out people like Kennesaw State, and Indiana State. I was like, those are 2 cupcakes. Obviously, I was like, that's good sign. And I didn't think they were gonna be able to beat Illinois, but they just showed up. I mean, like this Indiana team goes to Iowa and then goes to Oregon. This is big for them because if they can win against Iowa and Oregon, they are probably a Big Ten championship contender for sure. But I don't know. I mean, Kirk Cignetti, we'll definitely have to see. But it's not even a debate that Indiana's legit. And I think a lot of people are underestimating the power that Kirk Cignetti has as a coach. And a lot of people are underestimating Fernando Mendoza at quarterback as well. He's one of the top Heisman leaders, honestly. Actually, is the top Heisman leader currently. But Fernando Mendoza at Cal last year was no joke at all. I mean, he beat an Auburn team who wasn't that bad week 2 and continued to beat some teams. Almost beat Miami and Cam Ward. So Fernando Mendoza has all the accolades to beat teams like Illinois. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to follow this Indiana team as the season progresses. But we'll see what happens. But a big win for the Hoosiers at home on Saturday night against the Fighting Illini. But yeah, 63-10 is your final score. And Indiana just looks really good on a huge win on Saturday night. But that is going to do it for Week 4 recap. Had some big games, but this upcoming weekend, Week 5, will be when we get to see the bigger games happen. But we're gonna move now into we're gonna call it the disaster poll now, um, because they just continue to like piss me off every week. I mean, like it really sucks that um teams like Auburn get snubbed out of this, but so Illinois was ranked, right? Uh, no more after getting shackled, like just like or not shackled, but after getting smacked by Indiana, they take a nosedive. Um, but that destroys a ranking. I mean, you would think. And then Notre Dame is still ranked quite high, despite inconsistency. They win big against a mediocre school, but some performance gaps are worrying. I mean, like for Notre Dame, but Auburn loses a close game to Oklahoma, and they're not ranked. I mean, obviously they played bad in the pass protection, but if you look at the game Auburn played, like it's not it's not as bad as it seems. I really expected the AP poll to put them at 25. But no, they put a BYU team who has not played anybody at all over Auburn, who has played Baylor and Oklahoma at their places and won against one and lost by 7 against the other. It really makes no sense. And going to the next thing, like, why is Notre Dame and Illinois still ranked? I mean, that's Illinois lost 63-10 and was favored in that game by 4. And Notre Dame, I mean, I know last week I was like, I'm glad they still had them ranked. I'm really not. I mean, they gave up 30 points against Purdue, and that's not good. I mean, like this, it just shows the AP poll continues to disappoint me. Like, it's really, really frustrating to look at this AP poll and say it's good. Miami at 2, that's fine. And the rest of it's fine. I prefer Vanderbilt and Georgia Tech to be higher, but they'll have to keep winning. But I'm really just in awe how you rank 2 teams that have not done nothing. Actually, 3 teams. No, actually 4 teams because TCU is ahead of Auburn as well. How do you rank those teams ahead of Auburn and they have had less strength of schedule than Auburn? Auburn has one of the toughest schedules in college football, and they're still not ranked. But I mean, we'll never know. Maybe Auburn just needs to win by 100 to be ranked, but or maybe lose by 1 to be ranked. But we'll just have to see. But especially those marquee matchups, you got to earn respect, I guess. But I'm really disappointed with the AP poll and their decisions to rank Illinois, Notre Dame, TCU, and BYU over Auburn. But we'll see if it gets better next week. But we're gonna move on now to some week 5 preview. So we did get better. We did get better at picking, actually. The current picking record stands at 15-13 on the year. So definitely something to look out for. We're progressing as the weeks go on. But we're gonna go to our first big matchup of the evening, and that's gonna be Alabama. That's going to be Alabama and Georgia. Sorry, I'm looking away, guys. I'm trying to fix my iPad here. It's kind of messing up. But our first big matchup of the day is Alabama and Georgia. And the question is, will Alabama let all the noise get to them in Athens? And going into that game, obviously won last year's matchup at home against Georgia. But I mean, this game has some huge implications. Alabama, as Paul Feinbaum said, I believe this morning or yesterday morning, this loss for Alabama could put them out of college football playoff contention. It really could. I mean, if they lose bad, they're out of the AP poll. Like, they're gone. And that would be the first time since 2007 that I believe Alabama would be out of the AP poll. And Ty Simpson did not look good in week 1. And none of the team looked good in week 1. But the past 2 weeks, they've looked pretty solid, but you do have to look at the opponents they're playing. Wisconsin, banged up, was not very good. Luke Fickell got the fire Fickell chance at halftime of the game against Maryland, and they played a cupcake school that they knew they were going to beat in Louisiana Monroe. So the question is here, if Alabama does win, what does this mean for them? And, I mean, Georgia too, this is a really big game because Georgia got tested against a Tennessee team who brings it in all cylinders with defense, offense, and special teams. And Alabama is going to be the same exact way. But I do think we're going to pick this game too. I do think the Bulldogs get it done against against Alabama. I don't really see the Bulldogs struggling at home. They haven't lost at home in a while, in a long time actually, and I think the Bulldogs get it done against the Crimson Tide. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Bulldogs. But this SEC standard, it's really high standards for the SEC coaches. But if DeBoer doesn't get it done, then the hot seat might be inevitable for Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer. But is Georgia legit? We're gonna stay on that for a second. Is Georgia legit, or will they lay an egg against the Tide? Like I said, I don't think they will. I really feel like Georgia is legit this year. I feel like a 10-2 or 11-1 season is upon them. So yeah, like I said, Georgia is my pick for the game. We're gonna go to our next matchup. So this one is at 2:30. This one's gonna be Auburn and Texas A&M. In Kyle Field. How does the real question is, how does Auburn bounce back from the Oklahoma loss? You can either do one of two things. You can go out there on Saturday at 2:30. You can be fired up, ready to go, and forget about that Oklahoma loss, or you can mope about it. And I don't think Auburn's going to mope about it. I think Jackson Arnold's going to be like, we lost that Oklahoma game, guys. We're going to regroup during the week. We're going to go to practice and show out. We're going to go to Texas A&M and we're going to show them we're not just the same old Auburn we were last year. I know Auburn beat Texas A&M, but we're going to show them that we aren't that 4-6 Auburn that beat y'all last year. We are a different Auburn team that's looking to make the college football playoffs. I know Texas A&M is going to be angry, but I think this Auburn team is going to be able to get it done against the Aggies. I really do. And I feel like it's going to be to a point to where, Marcel Reed has a tough time with that defense, because if you look at it too, A&M is coming off a bye. I know that. A lot of rest for those A&M players, but A&M's defense gave up 40 points against Notre Dame. They gave up 22 against UTSA and 24 against Utah State. So if you look at those right there, that doesn't, put in a recipe for a good defense. So I think Auburn's offense is going to be able to get out of the pocket more. Jackson Arnold's going to be able to find his running room more. I feel like Auburn's going to be able to throw the ball downfield and be able to throw it to those receivers that we didn't see last week. I know Cam Coleman was one of the highlight receivers, but you'll get to see Eric Singleton, Malcolm Simmons, and Horatio Fields a little bit more in this one. And I feel like the Tigers are going to be able to get a big win against the Aggies on the road and then go into their bye week 4-1. But I really feel like Auburn's going to be able to do something here against Texas A&M. But going to our next game, which is another huge conference game. We highlighted 3 SEC games. This weekend is a great SEC weekend, and it's Ole Miss and LSU. And the highlight here is Ole Miss. Can they win? They can win, actually, if they force LSU turnovers. I mean, you got to force Nussmeier out of the pocket. You got to get him under pressure. But this game will be at Ole Miss, so I do feel like the crowd's going to play a factor. For some reason, Ole Miss is it's like a high school stadium for SEC. Them and Vanderbilt and Kentucky are, but it's really loud for some odd reason. And I feel like Ole Miss these past few weeks, I've really been down on them, and I feel like the Rebels won't get it done, but I do feel like they'll come close. I still feel like LSU will win though, but I'm really, really interested to see this game. Considering Ole Miss has been looking really good. They beat a good Tulane team last week, 45-3. So I really am excited to see what Ole Miss can do in this game. And if they force the turnovers, I think they win this game against LSU. And for the LSU side of things, like I said, the defensive line for Ole Miss is really heavy. and they definitely pressure a lot. But this LSU team's got to be ready for the Ole Miss defense line. But I like I said, I think LSU's got this, but Ole Miss is going to put up a fight. I know Lane Kiffin's got a big game plan for the Rebels in this one. And our next game up on the slate, this is going to be a Big Ten matchup, is USC and Illinois. USC seeking its first 5-0 start in a long time. I mean, it's been a while. I think it's been 3 or 4 years. Looking like a college football playoff contender right now. USC is. I really do think this game right here puts them in contention for a playoff spot. I honestly I wouldn't be surprised if going to the Week 5 recap, I talked about how USC might be a college football playoff contender if they win this game. And it all starts with USC's got to be able to, limit the pass from Altmaier. I really feel like Luke Altmaier wasn't able to get it done against Indiana in the passing game. And if USC is anything like Indiana could be, then I do think Illinois will have a hard time with USC. But I do think the Trojans win this one and are able to go to 5-0. And I feel like Illinois is just a little overrated this year, more so than we thought. So I do have the Trojans winning this one and starting 5-0 in their season. And then we're gonna move on to our next game, and this is college game day, folks. This one's college game day right here. It is number 6 Oregon at number 3 Penn State. I mean, probably the game of the year besides Alabama and Georgia. And just gonna start with the headline: Dante Moore has to block out the noise in Happy Valley. You got to. I mean, if you're Dante Moore, you're a young freshman coming into a tough environment like Penn State. James Franklin has not won a big game in like a long time, and you're going to have to show why you could possibly be a Heisman contender in your freshman season. And I think Dante Moore could get that done, but if the noise gets to him, then Penn State wins this game. And speaking of Penn State, can James Franklin win a big game? We've seen the trend against Ohio State, Michigan, I don't know who else, maybe Wisconsin sometimes, but Penn State cannot win those big games, and it's got to start here on Saturday night against Oregon. You have to be able to capitalize on Oregon's mistakes. You have to be able to throw the ball efficiently if you're Drew Allard. You have to be able to run the ball. Your defense has to be on point against this Oregon team who scores a lot. So if you're going to be Penn State in James Franklin's game, you can't go in there saying, this game is, well, you can't coach it how you've coached those games in the past. You got to come up with different game plans, and you got to be able to, not use mistakes. And if Penn State can do that, I think James Franklin gets one of those big wins, and Penn State might be a different Penn State than we've seen in years past. But I'm going to move on now to our last game here. Might be our last game. I'm not sure yet, but one of our games that we're covering. And this one's a shocker deal. But the Mississippi State versus Tennessee game. Tennessee, I know 3-1, almost beat Georgia. I know Mississippi State beat Arizona State. And the reason I'm highlighting this game, it's a SEC game and it's in Stark Vegas. And for some odd reason, the college football gods are like, you should really talk about this game because I feel like it's going to be something big, something special. I don't know. Blake Shapen's got something cooking up maybe. And I really do feel like there's a chance Mississippi State can win this game. But I do feel like the Vols will win close. This Mississippi State team, though, Jeff Lebby's got it figured out in year 2 or year 3. I don't know what year this is for him, but hopefully he does. And if the Bulldogs can get a win here against the Vols, then I really think this Mississippi State team is an underlooked or overlooked Mississippi State team who has been under the radar this season. But yeah, I mean, if you look at it, Mississippi State got the players. Hopefully has the talent to compete with Tennessee, but we'll see what happens in this game against the Vols. But I got the Vols for now, but I'm going to say Mississippi State could possibly win. But we're going to go away from college football now. Done talking about that. We will talk about it again next week. But now going to move into some NFL Week 3 recap, and what we're going to get started with? We're going to start with some Thursday Night Football. Last week, The Bills improved to 3-0 after beating the Dolphins 31-21 on Thursday Night Football. Josh Allen just looked good again. Another great performance. And, the Dolphins, I don't know what's going on with them. I mean, 0-3 start, haven't looked efficient at all, and really just sloppy play from the Dolphins. And hopefully they can bounce back, but really did not look good against the Bills on Thursday Night Football. But I'm really interested to see what Josh Allen and this Bills team can do in weeks to come. But yeah, should be a good start for Josh Allen and the Bills, because I believe they play the Saints this upcoming weekend. The Saints lost like 44-13 against the Seahawks yesterday. So yeah, I really think that that's good for the Bills. But huge game for Josh Allen and the boys to get a big win on Thursday night. And our next headline of the evening is Bryce Young and the Panthers get their first shutout since 2014 after beating the Falcons 30-0. Panthers defense just looked outstanding. And as a Panthers fan, I'm so glad we're finally looking good again. And yeah, I mean, this defense just looked outstanding, looked competent, even dominant at times. But the offense looked okay. Ted McMillan just continuing to show off with his hands, and I really do think this Panthers team is a team that's underrated. They got New England and Miami back-to-back weeks. It's going to take one game at a time, but I really do feel like the Panthers can do something this year. Maybe not a playoff team, but possibly a 7 or 8 win team after what I saw yesterday. But we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, Bryce Young and the boys get it done on Sunday and are able to get in the win column. Very early win for them as well. So yeah, really interested to see what transpires the rest of the season for the Panthers. And our next headline going into next week is the Bengals. Or going from last week is the Bengals. Bengals might be the worst team in the NFL. I mean, like, what's going on? Lost 48-10 yesterday to the Vikings. I mean, just crazy game. Jake Browning threw a bunch of interceptions, fumbled the ball a lot too. The reason I said they might be the worst team is because if Jake Browning plays like that again, then yeah, I don't think they win another game. Even against the teams they're supposed to, I really don't think they win another game. So yeah, the Bengals hopefully get things fixed. I don't know who they play next week, but really interested to see what they can do in weeks to come if they can get things adjusted after losing to the Vikings, who had an injured quarterback as well in J.J. McCarthy, but that really hurt if you're a Bengals fan for sure. And then continuing on our story, like I said last week, we'd follow the Colts. They win again, 3-0. Danny Dimes continues to shine. In another win against the Titans, huge game for the Colts. I mean, they definitely needed this. 3-0 start is not what I was expecting from the Colts this year, but I definitely feel like this Colts team could be a playoff team now. If I know it's early in the season, but they got to continue that push. But I really do feel like this Colts team has some magic in them, and Daniel Jones will be able to get this Colts team to a playoff first since I believe 2007 or something like that. It's been a long time coming for the Colts, but yeah, definitely really proud of the boys there in Indianapolis to get a big win against Tennessee. And one of our last headlines of week 3 was what's wrong with the Raiders? I mean, the Raiders lost to the Commanders, obviously. Just haven't been the Raiders team that I thought they were going to be all season. Brock Bowers and Ashton Jeanty have just looked mediocre at best. And Geno Smith just looks terrible. And this Raiders team's going to have to turn things around if they want to get it going. But really bad performances as of late for the Raiders. Even though they did get that win against the Patriots week 1, still looked bad in that one. But yeah, the Raiders hoping to bounce back, but we'll see what happens. Pete Carroll, I'm sure, will be able to get things together for the Raiders, but we'll definitely have to see. In our next, we're now going to move into week 4 preview. That's our next one up. Last segment of the show today. But going into week 4, here's some headlines. Can the Chargers start 4-0? I know the Chargers came off a win to the Broncos. But the Chargers look like they're going to be a good team. They play the Giants this upcoming week, so I'm really interested to see what happens on Sunday with the Chargers. I do think they'll start 4-0. And this Chargers team, Jim Harbaugh's got it going there in LA, and I really feel like this Chargers team's a different team than most people think. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what the Chargers can do in week 4 of the season. But yeah, can they start 4-0? Who knows? But we'll have to see. The NFL's kind of crazy, so yeah, I do think Los Angeles has a possibility though. And then our next headline up is the Eagles and Bucks. We're going to preview that game. The Eagles undefeated, the Bucks undefeated. This one should be a great one between NFC South and NFC East. Both teams just coming off crazy wins, but yeah, the Bucks just look like a great team right now. But the Eagles got a little bit of luck on their side, so I will have to go with the Eagles in this one. I really do feel like the Eagles are gonna do something to get it going again. But yeah, I really feel like this game will be close and a lot of fantasy points. If any of you guys play fantasy, a lot of fantasy points in this one for next week. But I do feel like the Eagles are gonna be able to get a win on Sunday for probably one of the better games of the Sunday slate coming up this weekend. And then our last game we're going to preview is the Ravens and Chiefs. Who has the edge in this game? I really think it's going to be the Ravens this one. The Chiefs have just not looked good. Even last night, the win against the Giants on Sunday Night Football was not the best, but they still got a win. But I feel like this Ravens team is just put together. They're a well-rounded team. I feel like Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson are going to cook something up to beat the Chiefs, especially since this has been a rivalry for a few years now. But I feel like the Chiefs and Ravens should be a close one. But I got the Ravens in this one for sure. So we'll have to see what happens for the rest of the NFL season for both these teams. But I do feel like the Chiefs will not make the playoffs, honestly. I mentioned that last week, but I don't feel like they'll make the playoffs. But this game's definitely one that could decide that. And if they lose, they'll go 1-3 on the season to start. But that is going to do it now for episode 22 of the Halftime Sports Talk Show. Don't forget to drop y'all's hot takes down in the comment section. Also, don't forget to follow the Twitter, follow the Instagram. Go over and follow Spotify, guys. Take a listen. If you guys don't like seeing my ugly face, then you can go over and listen on Spotify. And then also, don't forget we're also on YouTube as well. Tell your friends about the episodes, guys. I'm trying to get the episodes out there for everybody to see. But yeah, honestly, who you think, drop your hot takes, who you think deserves to move up in the AP poll, who you think deserves to fall. Obviously, hit us up on socials. Subscribe if you haven't yet. But we'll be back next week with some more heat. Every single week we got something new. But you guys stay safe out there. I hope you guys enjoy your college football weekend. But until then, keep the passion alive. And that is going to do it for episode 22. Hope you guys have a good evening.